bless you. Well, this is going to be an exciting one of those drop the mic interviews because I get to talk with another one of our rising stars at Holiness Tabernacle in the person of Sister Connie Lopez. Now, Sister Lopez, she been what's the word they're looking for? Kind of what's that word? Jackleg. Yeah, she a jackleg preacher. I get some good material from Sister Lopez. Just a beautifully a gifted young lady in the Lord. I love her husband, and to hear them and see them interact is just a treasure. And her children, I love them bunches. They keep a smile on my face. Sister Lopez, let's see, in the church, she serves in the praise and worship team. She sings with the adult choir. She sings with the women's choir. Sister Lopez, what else do you do in the church?
I'm there every Sunday with you.
Every Sunday. Every Sunday. Powerful testimony. And I have to share this. We're in the process of building a church. And I heard her stand one day and testify about how God had blessed her with her business and how she spoke and told God what she wanted. And it has such an impression on me as the leader. So, Lord, if you did it for her, you can do it for me. And I want to thank you publicly for that testimony. It just encouraged me. So therefore, that being said, I am not at all surprised by the person he chose to talk about. Okay, Sister Lopez, tell us what person in the Bible has inspired you. You want to share with us on today.
So the person I selected, her name is Lydia.
Lydia. Why Lydia?
Because she was a businesswoman. She was an entrepreneur. She was a God-sent hustler. Well, she wasn't God-sent at that time, but she was a hustler. And I admire that about her, especially during the period in which she was, living in. So.
Okay. Hustler. Entrepreneur. Some may look at that word as with a negative connotation. But when you say entrepreneur, talk about that.
So Lydia had her own business. She took natural resources from the earth, and she created this purple dye. And she dyed textiles and silks, and at that time, anything of purple, it meant royalty, and it was highly desired. It was a highly desired color. And so the fact that she was able to take a resource that was already created in the earth and reproduce something by selling fabrics and to build her own wealth and use that wealth to pour back into God's people was mind-blowing for me. And when I became an entrepreneur, I said, wow, I want to be like Lydia. I want everything that I do, the resources that I have, to be poured right back into God's people. She even used her own house to have God's people come in. It was almost like a sanctuary. They came in, and a lot of men converted under her in her presence in her home, listening to the messages and things like that. So Lydia being that entrepreneur and having that entrepreneur spirit, it spoke to me to the fact that she had her own mind, because she was born a Gentile. She wasn't a Jew. So to have your own mind to go out and create a means for yourself without the support of male or family, and then to be drawn to a spiritual leader who preached something, who preached about this God that belonged to a whole nother, who was part of the Jews. So for her to have her own mind to determine or to perceive that this is the way to go, it was all, captivated me. Her story is captivating.
I would not have chosen Lydia, But going forward, I can connect with her
Mm-hmm.
because as you were talking about, a hustle, a godly hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and entrepreneurship, in a sense, that's what a pastor is.
Mm-hmm.
Paul talks about we plow in hope. And there is no guarantee that when you start a church with nothing, that God's going to prosper it. And any entrepreneur, there's some risk taking involved. Share with me, if you will, one component of risk taking that you have endured and overcame.
One risk was I quit my job and started a business. I just, I once I made up my mind that this is the direction that I wanted to do, I put in my 2-week notice and I took the leap. In Memphis, they got this saying, it's slang, but I'm gonna use it. I jumped the porch. And in
You
other
jumped the
words,
porch.
I jumped off the porch. In other words, I took the leap and decided to just go full-fledged and risk it all. So that was a risk that I had to overcome, and I'm still learning to overcome in entrepreneurship. There's a difference between not having money and being broke. And when you're an entrepreneur, you really experience being broke. And so for Lydia to have nothing and to turn natural resources that were available into something, that's admirable.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Maybe I'm off, but I even see in God, He was an entrepreneur
Yes.
because He invested in us when there was and is no guarantee of a return. He plowed in the hope.
Mhm.
Ain't that something?
It is something. It is something. He's the ultimate entrepreneur. And when I need marketing techniques, it's interesting. When I need real marketing techniques, I know you have to, kind of go with the day and time by, social media and stuff. But when you look back in the word, um, he did everything by word of mouth, by foot. And even to this day, it doesn't matter how much social media you have. The best tool for growing your business is word of mouth.
No.
So it's like, for Lydia to be put in a position where people passing through her house and she's literally by word of mouth spreading the gospel, they leave her presence converted. That's huge influence. And, a lot of people don't understand the importance of word of mouth and how powerful and how influential it is until you're in a position where you really need their word of mouth. Like if you're trying to get promoted, you go to somebody who's of some type of, higher power, who has, higher credentials to vouch for you. And what happens? The HR person called that person, who you have listed as your who have all those credentials to vouch for you. That's word of mouth. That's referral. So in the Bible, when Jesus was out marketing, he was using referrals. He was out, and then he sowed the seed into Lydia, and different ones caught on.
Testimonials.
Yeah, testimonies. Thank you. Testimonies.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay. There may be, look, we're gonna run out of time. That's okay. There may be some entrepreneurs watching this, or somebody afraid to jump off the porch. I like that terminology. The Bible says that He has given us power to get wealth. Speak to them now to some of the fears you experienced and you can perceive they are experiencing right now.
Not knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from. That's a real fear. And excuse me one moment.
That's okay.
Pastor, what I might ask you to do is ask that question again about the fears, and just let her do that, start it over again, and we'll edit it in that way.
No problem.
Sorry about that. She
No
was
problem.
running into the door.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so we have no idea who's going to watch this.
Okay.
But I really want us to minister to some people that may need an extra oomph, or perhaps they're right now teetering on making that plunge or jumping off the porch. If you can, speak to them now and encourage them. I'm sure you can recall some of those voices that you heard, or feelings or emotions. Speak to them now about what they can expect or what God can do for them.
Well, what I'm learning now is, when operating a business, you have to remove all feeling and emotions aside and just, go off the numbers. Or at least that's what they, teach you. You kind of go off of the numbers and you put the emotion aside when handling business. But like what I like to throw in is that, well, I can add the spiritual side in there because I'm saved. And so the moments I can remove the emotion, I tap into the spiritual a little bit more, because if you go off of emotions, your feelings will have you all over the place. One minute the business is doing great and it's excelling and you're excited about the growth and the potential and the opportunities, and then next minute you may hear a slow patch or a downward patch, and it's hard to climb out of those cycles mentally, because with entrepreneurship, it takes your mind up and down, and doubt and fear plays into it a lot, saying, what are you doing? You can't do this. Have you really thought this through? You might need to let this go and try something else. But that's why I say, although I'm able to remove the emotion, my spiritual man kick in stronger, because, the scriptures remind me that I can do all things through Christ, that strengthens me. Greater is he that's in me than he is in the world. The riches are stored up for his people. Different little scriptures will keep you going to let you know that, no, you are moving in the right way. And one thing that I've learned, is to really, really learn to trust and have faith in God, and to lean on him wholeheartedly in this process, because it can be a lonely journey. It can be a lonely journey.
And from the ministry standpoint, we would say we preach in season and out of season. In season, everybody love you. In season, you're getting all these customers. Out of season, you make a decision and the members are mad at you. Or perhaps it's a slow season in your business. And then I also equate this. The longer I pastor, the more dependent I become on God. Because, when I left working in the Fortune 500 industry, the first year or two, I thought I had some of that know-how and some of that knowledge of how that job functioned. But every year, I'm further and further removed from that discipline. If I go back now, I don't know anything. So the longer I pastor, the more I had to depend on God to lead and guide me. I would suspect in your business, the longer you work in that area, those other areas, you're now more distant from them, and you're now more heavily dependent upon God, especially in the area that you chose or he led you to.
And I have to do, and like you said, I have to depend on him even more now than I did when I was actually working for an employer, because I don't have certain luxuries or amenities that comes with having a constant paycheck. You know, I don't have a constant paycheck. So that's why I made the statement where there's a difference between being broke versus just not having, you know, not having money. You know, when you don't have money, you can't, if you're getting a steady paycheck, you can't say I don't have money. You just mishandle your funds. But when you're broke, it's like I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from. You know, that's a different type of experience, and it's scary. It's scary as a woman. It's scary as a mom. It's scary as a wife who have, you know, additional responsibilities outside of myself to be, you know, in a situation where I don't know what I don't know what I'm gonna do. So my spiritual life has soared, in my opinion, because it's like I have no other choice but to turn to him, especially in the moments where, you know, there's little to no activity in my shop. So,
and isn't it good to know it's not a sin to be fearful? Because God does help us address our doubt. And he's left his word on record that he'll take care of us.
yeah. And he proves it, you know, doing this journey, he's proven it over and over and over. Had I been with corporate, I may not have. Had I killed with my corporate career, I may not have experienced him like this to where, you know, he's proven in this way. You know, the things that he's proven to me have been huge in my eyes, major wins and major successes that I didn't need a referral from a person to get. It was just all orchestrated by him. So
this is wonderful. This is wonderful. I know we've gone long, and I could go some more, because I really believe that there are a lot of people in the kingdom of God that God has put in them a spirit to start businesses and to expand the kingdom, but perhaps there's some fear. So you get the last word. Close us out. You and Lydia, y'all partner up and talk us up, coach us up, pump some life and courage into us. The floor is yours.
well, Lydia, the way her story ends is that she converted over to become a believer of Christ. And that speaks to, you don't have to settle for what you was born into. You don't have to succumb to what you was raised as or what you thought, you know, being that she was a Gentile. You have the choice to use your mind and be a risk taker and go after what you believe. And Lydia went after what she believed, which was Christ. And when she became exposed to Christ, she used her resources to pour back into God's people. And because of that, she had she not been the resource for God's people, a lot of people probably wouldn't have you know, got saved or even heard about Christ. So with that being said, it's okay to take the risk, because, you know, a lot of people take risks on their own and they don't depend on God. But it's a different ball game when you take the risk and knowing that you serve for him, you live for him, and that he will pull you through no matter what, because you're taking care of his people and his kingdom.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, for your example and for your testimony. You have encouraged me tremendously. I think the word of you and your husband and your family. Thank God for you. And that's all we have for today. Thank God for this time. And remember, hi, Brother Omar. That's her one of her sons. Well, that's her son, Omar. But thank God again for you. God bless you.